Well, happy Monday. It is January 13th. Welcome to ATI Pro Media. We're powered by Advanced Trading, and we've got a great start to this week, right? Friday, we saw that very bullish USDA report, right? Some great numbers. Turns out we still do not have a national corn yield above 180, right? Caught everyone off guard with that yield reduction that we saw, something similar in soybeans. And so Brady might have to reel me in because I want to look at that USDA report, right? So many fascinating numbers, so many things, but we got to start looking forward, right? We've got the bullish numbers. Market continues to trade higher, which is exactly what we want to see. But now we got to start looking to the future, right? And so one big headline was actually came out the same time as the USDA report. It kind of got overshadowed if you weren't paying attention. But this 45Z guidance, or maybe I should say lack thereof, right? What are we going to get in terms of renewable fuels rhetoric? What type of mandate are we going to get? And here's the phrase of the week: intent to propose. So with that, we got some other headlines. We're about a week out from Trump inauguration, dead on a week out, right? January 20th. So with that, Brady, jump in here, quote us up on the markets, and then we'll get into it.
All right. March corn futures up 3.5 cents, 474 on the board. March bean futures up 8.25 at 1033.5. Oils softer. Meals up 470 at 303. Looking over at wheat. Wheat is the leader. Wheat's up, boys. March Chicago wheat up 9 cents at 539.5. March KC wheat up 6 cents at 557.75. Over at your livestock markets, feeders are firmer on the front. That January contract continues to build a little bit premium over the back months and weaker on the back months. Live cattle rolling over down 425. Lean hogs mixed, chopping around, but little change there. Looking at crude oil in your energy markets, crude oil's up $1.25. Diesel's up 3.5 cents. Nat gas is up another 3.5 cents. Over your equity markets, the Dow's up 128, the S&P down 34 points, the Nasdaq down 224, Bitcoin down 2,950, well below 100,000 at 92,000 on your Bitcoins. We haven't quoted that one up in a while, Connor. Figured I'd go talk Bitcoin for a brief second.
Well, good stuff. Good to see the fall through this morning, right off that USDA report. But we talked about potential volatility and that trying to predict what the USDA is going to print is the losing battle. Talk about we couldn't have been more right, right? We weren't right. We were just saying don't know what to expect. But I go back to last year. We thought we were going to see a yield cut, right? It was kind of this sentiment, and they hit us with a then record yield, right? They raised it more than we thought. This year, polar opposite, right? We dropped the yield 3.8 bushel, just officially below, number one, we're below a 180 yield. It's still a record, right? It's at 179, still better than last year, but below trend line, below 180. So amazing. We saw the markets react accordingly. So I'm still a little blown away just how big a cut that was, Brady.
It was a fun day. It was a big day, and it's what farmers want to see. It's what good looks like from a report reaction, right? We like to see, we always want to be kind of in that bull camp where we root for higher prices and cheer on higher prices. But yeah, like you said, expect volatility. Don't get caught off guard from it. Hopefully, you're able to benefit from the market moving higher. And it's kind of one of those actionable type of rallies and events. And my question, I guess, to watchers out there is, is it just bulling you up and digging your heels in on we got to keep going higher, or are you doing something about it and going out there and defending?
Yep. So good stuff. That was our topic for the premium too, was just, kind of a where do we go from here, right? We got the bullish USDA report. Let's make sure we stay grounded, right? And be ready for anything. Here, I want to look at state by state here. I have, it fits perfectly between our heads.
It does.
But just corn yields state by state. And so, myself, we in Illinois, we saw the increase, right? Not quite as dramatic across the board as we thought, but where we saw the pullbacks, Ohio, right? That's the big one. The other one,
North Carolina. Look at North Carolina out there, Luke. You haven't been lying at all this year. Look at that yield adjustment. Wow.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I mean, the big corn producing states, right? Iowa 5%, Illinois 5%, Nebraska 3%, Minnesota, right? Minnesota, they had problems all year long in terms of way too much moisture. And guess what? The yield reflects it, right? We saw a 6% drop in Minnesota here. And then flipping it over, right? The story I'm talking about the corn yield, but we saw
Yeah,
soybean yield pull back as well. And similar, but not. I mean, year on year, right? Where did we see the increases? Yourself in Kansas is the big one, but the big soybean producing states, um, Illinois 2%, Iowa 3.4%. So just not. It's always interesting to go state by state for me.
it is. Yeah, I like looking at that data. But when you start talking about yield and those, the national yield and 180 on a balance sheet and this big pullback that we saw there, is that going to embolden skeptics going forward? Anytime you put 180 on a balance sheet for 25, 26, are we just gonna? I don't know. That strengthens my side of questioning that.
I
Will we?
100% here. I have when we look at that trend line yield, Brady, we haven't hit trend line since 2018. It's been 6 years since we've seen that USDA trend line yield. And so let's look forward to next year, right? They're probably going to put what 182, 181, something like that. And the skeptics have fuel. That's all I'll say, right? We still have never seen a 180 national crop, which is it's amazing for me to say, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see if we get some adverse weather this year going forward. But if you're in the bull camp, I guess that's what you're rooting for going forward is maybe some adverse weather in South America, that safrinha corn crop. And then, how many acres are we going to plant in the US? We got a long road ahead of us with new crop stuff. But
Yep.
yep.
Exactly. So, and with that, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, but we did have a flash sale, right? Good to see some soybeans sold to China, 198,000 metric ton for 24-25. So good to see, right? We're going to, now that the final yield's baked in, right? The trade's really going to be looking at these export numbers, right? Can we see maybe that last little push in terms of soybean exports, right? Historically, we're going to start seeing that fall off in soybean exports. So, that'd be a good one. We'll hope we can continue, to stretch that as long as we can. That's what we need for the soybean market.
That's a good sale to squeak in here, kind of in the back end of the window for U.S. planting here. But it's always subject to cancellation. So watch these weekly export sales we get on Thursday to see what the total is for the week and if there's anything getting written off the books each week as we go forward here too.
Yeah. So other thing is we did usually we'd have that COT report out Friday. It was delayed because of Jimmy Carter's National Day of Mourning. So we get it out today. And so I got to think we're going to see corn continue to add to the longs. I think I'll be paying attention, really looking at where are we at with soybeans, soybean oil, right? What are funds thinking there? What are you looking at?
Definitely going to be looking on the meat side of things where funds with fat cattle, feeder cattle, not positioning. Yep.
Gotcha. You want to give us a quick cattle update? Cattle's still on fire.
Oh gosh, it's a wild market. Kind of, a little hesitancy out the gate here this morning, with fats a little weaker and feeders, kind of mixed. That January's got to settle to the index. I don't know if I pulled it in. I'm going to try to work on pulling it in later, but I have a snapshot of Thursday's index, pretty firm. But we got strong cash. We got, strong box beef. The feed yard definitely has leverage out there. Packer margins are ugly. It doesn't look like they're going to get any better, but the consumer is still buying. So, we're just kind of kicking the can down here, and the bull market is bullish until it's not, Connor B. I'm going to dig up that feeder cattle index and see if I can pull that in here because it's worth looking at.
Okay.
Buy me a minute here.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump. The next thing, we saw it out Friday. We talked a little bit about it, but really the USDA report kind of took precedence in that we saw some headlines that we were going to get some 45Z guidance, right? If we go back, we had the BTC blending tax credit expired the end of the year. We were kind of in limbo, and so we saw our government kind of, they said we were going to get some type of guidance. We saw soybean oil skyrocket, right? I think it fueled to the soybean market Friday as well. Then when we got the news, especially in terms of ags, in my opinion, it kind of fell flat. Number one, the saying intent to propose some type of guidance. That's the definition, I think, of legalese, right? I'm going to make sure I save that one for when I intend to propose. But so the U.S. government on Friday released short-term guidance on how companies can secure clean fuel tax credits under the Inflation Reduction Act, but they said fell short of finalizing the program's key details. That's a direct quote from Reuters. So, so basically, in terms of any type of push for, I'm looking for it here, smart ag, so-called climate smart ag practices, any type of rhetoric involved in ag, we didn't really get that, right? We didn't get any big push or anything like that. It's really going to be up to the next administration, right? To really define it. And so I got to read you a tweet from the Iowa Renewable Fuels Association. I think they summed it up pretty good. Today's announcement by the Treasury is a story of too little, too late. This is not a final rule. This is not a safe harbor. It isn't even a proposed rule. Putting out a notice of intent 10 days before you leave office is nothing but punting the rule down the road. So I think they summed it up very nicely when I hear that. The one positive I will say is that we are likely to see some type of curbing in terms of used cooking oil imports, right? That seemed to be a general consensus, is that while maybe we didn't get the rah-rah that we're going to see in terms of renewable diesel, biodiesel, we did see that we could see curbing of used cooking oil imports. So I think that's the shining star. But really, at the end of the day, it's another punt, and it's going to be up to the next administration if we're going to see anything, big sweeping or a big win for the American farmer. This 45Z guidance, it wasn't it.
Yeah, well, we got to see rubber meet the road here with that type of policy, that rhetoric. On the WASD report, I think the USDA actually lowered biodiesel on usage on the soybean oil balance sheet. Kind of one of those little devil in the details out there that you were looking at, but that was probably wrong as well. Hey, I got a soybean oil chart for you before we jump over, and I did get the feeder cattle deal loaded up, but I want to look at that. You talked soybean oil spiking on Friday. Look at that big move on soybean oil on that chart that we saw Friday. Pulling back a little bit today, but still did make a little higher high for the move. That's good to see.
Yeah, we'll take it. Yeah, we'll take it. And so I think, the whole soybean complex, the one thing last time, I'm not going to mention anything with the USDA report again on this show, but, we didn't get any type of production increase in South America, right? A lot of people were looking for that. And I think that could be inferred as bullish as well. So, that's another big one when we look at that soybean market.
Definitely. Yep. Hey, I pulled that feeder cattle data that I wanted to show you guys earlier. Sorry, I didn't have it preloaded before the show, but this is Thursday's data. 278.55 is the latest feeder cattle index print. That was up 355. That daily total, 284.50 on the daily total, well above the index. And futures, Jan futures are 273. Those have to come together the end of January, and they will come together. So I guess you can be in the camp that the index is going to peel back to 273, or the futures are going to rally up to that 284. Going to be interesting as we wrap up January here, see where that feeder cattle index goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. We'll pop any questions. We got any comments? We'll go ahead and do it. Here we go. Adam. D's 25 has been 430 to 450 for 6 months. Failed to push through 460 twice in that time. I'm watching that 460 barrier as a momentum signal. Good point. And I think that's a good point, is we need to talk a little bit, the report we saw, March corn up. I already broke my rule. I said I wasn't going to mention it, and I did it again. But March corn, what did it close on Friday, Brady? Did we close up 14? We were up as much as 20. I'm pulling those.
Yeah, closed up 14 and a half, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. And then D's 25, we saw it close up 3-2, right? Definitely an old crop rally. And when I look at that March to D's spread, right, we're at a 22 cent inverse, right? So, we're seeing that old crop rally. We didn't really see it in the new crop.
Yep, definitely. It's definitely an old crop rally, old crop report, old crop numbers, and the new crop, especially on corn side, definitely struggles, probably because of that safrinha corn crop in the U.S. that's going to hit that D's 25 contract. They ain't pricing in the nearly as tight of a situation when you go that far out.
Right.
Yep.
So,
Good comments, Adam.
yeah, good stuff.
All
Well,
right.
anything else? Always appreciate the comments. Yeah, we'll see. We've still got I think March corn's still right when we started the show. We're up 3. We're still up 3, so good to see. We'll see where we go. Continue to do it. Any questions, always shoot us an email, drop them. We always love answering them on the show. With that, I'll find the button. Any comments, Brady?
Nope. Thank you guys for joining us. We're here every day live at 9, and shoot us your comments, questions. We love being here, sharing today's news today with you, and you guys have a good week. We'll be right back here tomorrow live at 9.
Everyone have a good one.